I'm here joined by Swiss documentary filmmaker Kaspar Kasics, and your film just premiered in the Curiosi Concorsi at the Locarno Film Festival. I want to know, how did this project come to be? How did you get in contact with Erica Jong?
Usually, we come to a subject by accident, and it was the case in this with Erica Jong. I came to see a book in a bookshop. It was the book Fear of Dying, and I just finished a film about a woman who was going to die.
Right.
And so I was very attentive to this subject. And then I saw the name Erica Jong, Fear of Dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered that there was another book 50 years ago,
Yes.
Which I was too young to read it or not interested in it as a man. And I thought, wow, there must be 50 years in between.
Yeah.
And what happened? And I knew it was a book, Fear of Flying was a book for women, for the liberation, sexual liberation of women. This is what I knew, but I've never read it. So I said, okay, I have to read both books. And then I realized this woman is such an intelligent woman, and with a lot of humor and a lot of dialectic, contradictory thoughts. So this triggered me to contact her.
And then within the production, the film opens with something of an acknowledgement to COVID and the start of the conversation between the two of you about the project. So was there...
Why?
Yeah, why? Why open with COVID?
Good
I
question.
assume it already had it.
Good question. No, it was because I couldn't finish the filming because of COVID.
Yeah.
I was there in February 2020, and we already saw the hospital which was built in China on television. And we thought, okay, it will be in China. It was not. It was all over the world. And 1 month later, and then I couldn't do the filming in April and May, which was planned. And then I was waiting 1 year, and I realized it will not happen anymore, this final shooting. So I said, okay, I have to use the pandemic situation. And by intuition, when it started, I called a cameraman in New York and asked him to make pictures.
Right.
And I described him already at this point very exactly what I wanted. And it was very expensive. It was the most expensive filming I ever did.
So you got extra shooting.
Shooting.
With Erica, you had someone follow her.
No, this was not just covering the situation. It was not possible to do anything. She didn't let anyone in her apartment.
Yes, well, understandably so. Yeah.
And so I had these beautiful impressions, and then I realized, okay, I use this as a basic line in the film, and we introduce a new level of talking to each other also about the film.
Yeah.
So it has a meta level in the film.
Yeah, I found that really interesting because for a lot of it, you kind of function as a fly on the wall, listening in on conversations. Sometimes with the husband interacting a bit more directly with them, and then with the sister, for example, it's really just a conversation between the two.
Absolutely.
Was that something that you knew going in, the approach that you wanted to have of like just being mainly passive and listening in, or did you have going in knowing what you kind of wanted?
I mean, even it seems that I may be passive. I'm not.
Yeah.
Even with the sister, I intervened many times, and I said, "You talked about this. What is this exactly?"
Yeah.
And then I continued on this level. But to be really in the film, this was not planned. Right. It was planned that there will be some interactions between Erica and me, but I didn't want to have me too much in the film.
Yeah.
But in the end, by the dialogue which we made on Zoom, I'm even more than I planned.
Yeah.
And with the sister, that's an interesting story. I never planned this. So we just planned other scenes with Erica, and then she said, "I'm going to meet my sister."
Yeah.
And I said, yes, it could be interesting. I didn't know anything about her sister. I didn't know what they would be talking about. And they started talking about the family.
Yes.
And then I realized this could be an idea for the whole film, that the whole family story is told in a dialogue between Erica and her sister.
Yeah, I found that really interesting because, like you said before, the contradictions that she also lives are really coming through once she has to go through with her sister, and feels like there's a lot of stuff that they never really talked about that openly.
Absolutely.
So it's a beautiful thing when that really comes forward. Another aspect of the film that is in the latter half with her being the person breaking walls, but also helping more people of younger generations to break walls.
Exactly.
Is that something that she just had going on, and you were able to follow along, or how did that come?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, she's giving money to the Barnard College, more specifically to the Erica Jong Writing Center. It's her title.
Yes.
It's titled the center, and so she always follows what's going on there.
Yeah.
So she every year 2 or 3 times she goes there, and sometimes she has a speech or whatever or discussions. So I said, this is an idea. Of course, we try to arrange it in the time when we were there.
Yeah.
But it's not something which she's not doing.
Yeah.
The same with the Egyptian journalist. There are many young women or also elderly women who want to talk to her because of a certain reason.
Yeah.
And as her books just came out in Korea and in Egypt, this woman became interested and wanted to meet her. And we said, we just announced to the woman, we will be there with the camera. So it was an encounter that happens, I'd say, once a week with somebody. But I couldn't choose who it was.
Yeah.
So it was also like a gift for the film.
Yeah, it was interesting to tag along to her process of still wanting to create and then also managing that with time. I mean, in her book from 2015, that's something that gets touched on. I mean, with the fear of dying. And I was also wondering, now a bit outside of the film, you just made more film as a concept as a whole. How do you see, I guess, that as a language that parallels maybe something that's more written with the theme of, I guess, words can change people? Do you think that that also works when you document them or you put them into a feature film?
I mean, in documentaries, the words are very important.
Yes.
but the amazing thing that happened is that the young woman expresses it. She says the words can change, and this is actually the basic idea of Erica's.
Yes.
So she has already taken over the basic idea of or the goal of Erica Jong, and of course also in the film because Erica tries to bring everything to the point.
Yes.
There you realize it's not just talking. She really tries to express the things in a manner that people realize something.
Yes.
As she said, people don't look at reality; they tune it out.
Yeah.
That's for example, just as an example, to tune out reality. That's a fantastic word which is in the film. There are many more, and so the word also in the film becomes has a certain power.
Yeah.
More than maybe in other, but because she's a writer. I mean, she's
yes,
of course.
And then she also addresses that being a woman on the forefront, she also has to live up to such more scrutiny and basically has to be the symbol that's put upon her. Although she's just trying to express something that she thinks should be something basic, right? Just
but she has become a role model.
Yes.
And she knows that, and so but it's also it's a sort of obligation she has, and that's why she's when the Egyptian journalist comes, she immediately has a plan how to guide her, or how to give her something on her way, or to show her this caricature. This image.
This image in the bathroom.
Yeah, or in the bathroom, just to make her aware. And then the Egyptian woman says, "Wow, all these men are, how to say, gazing at this woman," and it expresses the difference between man and woman, and the woman just has to be naked, and the men are.
They're exasperated. They cannot fathom.
They cannot breathe anymore.
Yes, which I think was another thing that I found really poignant to intercut sometimes the conversations with some of the older talk show. Was to really kind of get a picture of the sentiment at the time, how normal it was to just basically make fun of people and have everyone in agreement. It really shows, we've changed, and there's still a lot of stuff that needs changing. Of course, that's always the case, but it feels like it has done, like, people like her who sit there and deal with it, and then also respond to it and don't cave in. It's so valuable to society. So it's great to have a light shone.
I mean, this of course has always been a basic idea of the concept.
Yeah,
but I was absolutely decided not to tell her story in a chronological way.
Yes.
But to open windows. I thought it's much more impressive if all of a sudden there's a window opening, and you see her at the age of 34 or 30 or 40, and you realize, wow, of course she looks different.
Yeah,
everything looks different. Television looks different, but the way they talk is very different. And then you realize, oh yeah, I have to keep in mind that it was a much different situation at the time.
Yes.
So this was very important to have these extracts, but it was very expensive to get the
to get the licensing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I was surprised how eloquent she was at the age of 31 or 32. This was, I mean, in such a situation, and it's television with an audience.
Yeah,
it's not just the journalist and Erica Jong. There's an audience, but at the same time you realize, obviously from the very beginning, she was aware that she has also to be a narrator in public, a
public figure,
and that she has to know how a public figure comes over to works or impresses the audience.
And then whenever she would lose her temper, that would get spun out of proportion and would actually undermine what she's trying to do.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's
she's very controlled, very measured, very very aware of what she's saying.
Yeah.
And always using the humor. Always. I mean, that's one of her great talents anyway.
Yeah.
But she uses it also when she is attacked, So that's fantastic to see that she knew she had to play a role also in the public.
Yes.
And that she was able. And she was able because her family had also this showbiz background. The father had a showbiz background, the mother a bit less. But she was sexy. She was a beautiful woman. So and they were glamorous. That's what he says. So she knew what it was all about.
When and where can people see the film?
Yeah, I mean, the situation is really delicate now to bring films into the theaters or the cinemas.
Still,
So we will be waiting as long as possible, but we'll be coming out as soon as possible. At the same time, it will be probably winter 22-23.
Yes.
I think January 23.
We'll definitely remind people once it comes out again. And thank you so much for our conversation.
Thank you.